Hi, this is a little talk about being a panelist and a moderator at a science fiction and fantasy convention. Just this last weekend, I went to VCon 42, and that's the Vancouver Science Fiction Fantasy Convention. It's got a whole lot of things going on. There's a whole lot of fandom happening. Um, I got a chance to hang out with some furries at the after party. Um, nobody was dressed up. There was one person wearing ears and a tail, but no full on furry. And I'm guessing that's happening somewhere else. But anyways, back to the subject. Uh, how I started off was I contacted programming, f- figured out the email to make the contact, and just let them know that I was a writer. I had a book, my interests. I came up with some panel suggestions, and they got back to me. And closer to the event, they provided, say, more information as the schedule was being put together. As a panelist, what I did was I looked up online. Okay, how do I prepare for this? And it was suggested to come up with stories, anecdotes, uh, things of interest, angles to look at the subject. Um, I ended up with at least I think I was on about 7 panels. I think something like that. Yeah, I think it was 7. And as I went through the 3 days, I realized that being over prepared helped, say, because I would have information on standby. Some of the panels were very easy to speak about, to communicate, to speak with, to listen to. Whereas other panels, and to perhaps it was, say, my frame of mind, that sort of I was like lagging, I was getting stuck. And it helped to have to be over prepared. Uh, I was able to also act as a moderator, one time solidly a moderator, and then another time as more of a soft moderator, and just keeping things moving along. And in that instance, I remembered that audience participation was part of it. I had gone to VCon years ago, uh, and it was either then or at just somewhere I had picked up this notion that people in the audience were going to be interacting, and I read it somewhere also in as it was being scheduled. There was this advice that this uh, engaging would be happening with the audience. And I noticed too that some moderators would cut it in half and say, okay, we're going to have a discussion and then we're going to open it up for questions at the end. However, I really got into the interacting with the audience. We had a Doctor Who panel, Doctor Who question mark, and I think right away that opened up into uh, engaging with the audience, and there was so much passion about what was going on with the show. How was it going to go? How had the BBC treated the show in the past? How were they angling it? And yeah, and two, whereas I was on panels where uh, it seemed important. It was important to the moderator that the discussion was established first. So different angles and ways, but in that Tolkien one, it did open up, and somewhat. The panel was really intense. We were very passionate about the subject, and I think we were supposed to open it up, but it was difficult to. There was a little bit of participation going on. Let's see what else. So finally, it was a chance to connect locally. I was able to carry around my book, and when opportunity presented itself, especially meeting with other writers, they were carrying around their books, right? So we sort of, hey, let me check that out, and it was encouraging and inspiring, and I picked up a bunch of new skills, and I got a chance to meet with Patrick Bolivar, T.G. Shepard, and be on panels with them. Graham Darling, all local people. Anthony Lee-Dudley, who's into writing for RPG. And I got a chance to hang out with an old friend at Fandom, Josette Kernahan, who gets around, and she's amazing. So I highly recommend it for some stage of your writing, publishing life to go there, even just to express your passion for your genre, get an opportunity to talk about, especially say sci-fi, fantasy, and too, there's so many different angles, and say steampunk. So yeah, highly recommended. Take care.